Hello and welcome to BFF's Wine and Tell, our spicy, saucy, and sassy podcast on life and its many myriad experiences.
Told through the eyes of two besties who have probably seen it all.
Love, heartbreak,
Success, failure.
loneliness, companionship, you name it.
We talk life, but we make it light.
So come along with us on this journey. You will laugh,
You may wipe a tear or two.
but you'll most definitely say,
Oh man, I can totes relate to that.
oh, by the way, what's your color of choice?
Huh?
Wine, I meant red or white. Bring a glass or a bottle along, babe,
And grab your bestie.
because the fun has just begun. So like, subscribe, and share with your besties. Cheers! Hello, and welcome back to yet another dazzling episode of our spicy, I know she was going to laugh at that, saucy and sassy podcast that we call BFF's Wine. Where's your wine?
Yeah.
And Tell. And today we have a really special guest with us, ladies and fine gentlemen. Please put your hands together for Sarissa Rodriguez-Schwartz. Thank you so much,
Hello.
Sarissa, and a very warm besties welcome to our podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Before saying anything, we drink. Because all good things start with wine.
Cheers.
Thank you so much. Salute. Chin chin. Everything, all languages. Thank you for staying with us and coming back to us week on week. We are super overwhelmed with all the nice things you say about us. So we strive to bring you nicer and nicer content, nicer and nicer episodes, which is why we have the one and only Sarissa with us. Sarissa is the co-founder and CEO of SGS Group. I cannot begin to tell you how much pride I feel when I see a woman CEO, like I'm literally getting goosebumps. There aren't too many of us, so it's amazing. Thank you for taking one for the team. She's a force in the hospitality industry. She's a wellness advocate. She's a mother, a partner, and a vibe curator par excellence. So she doesn't just build venues, ladies and gentlemen. She builds experiences that will transport you. So I'm going to quote some names, and they should all be very familiar with you. She's built places like Papi's Tacos. If you like Mexican like I do, that's the place on your list. Lulu's Lounge, where many of our youthful days have been spent doing fairly unspeakable things. Employees Only, which is where the more mature, posh us would like to go. And our latest most favorite place, which is Center of the Universe, or KOTU as it is called in short. Especially, oh my God, you have to go to Whisper Room and Dashi Gogo. So as you can see, Sarissa, our guest today, she's turned hospitality into an art form, one that balances elegance, soul, and cultural storytelling in every cocktail, every plate, every space. But do not let the glamour fool you. Sarissa's grit runs deep. And we are here today to find out all about Sarissa's story, how she started working at actually the very tender age of 14. She survived and actually thrived through a pandemic and continues to lead with vision, style, and fire. She's also a proud mother, a fierce friend, and a woman unafraid to evolve. From love and leadership to late nights and wellness mornings, Sarissa holds multitudes. And honestly, looking at her, I can confidently say she makes it look very effortless. Gotta get on her program. Tonight, we are opening the wine and a group chat because behind the boss energy is a woman with stories you haven't heard yet. Thank you again, Sarissa, for coming to us and on our podcast.
What can you
Thank you
not
so much.
do, Sarissa?
Yeah, seriously, that's the first
it's like,
question.
when is she ending this bio? It keeps going on and on and on.
Yeah, seriously. You know how they say, send us a short bio with you, it's not possible. Like, look at the names. Papi's Tacos, Lulu's Lounge, Employees. Pangea, we forgot. Now
Yes.
go to, oh my God.
Yes. That was a very kind introduction. Thank you both so much.
Very deserved.
I feel the same. You guys are amazing.
Aw.
You ladies are amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
But seriously, you, I remember telling you that I don't say this lightly, but in my brief journalistic career, I have had the honor of interviewing several women leaders, and I think they are a tribe of their own. But like ever since I met you, I've been wondering how you do what you do. That's my first question. How do you do what you do?
That's a loaded question. How do I do what I do?
Yeah, well, how? You can't tell us it's the wine.
How do I do what I do? I have no option. I have no choice, right? So I think that comes from a lot of grit. I think that grit is the driving force behind a lot of what I do and how I've persevered and kept going and just work harder than everybody. I believe that as a woman, especially, you have to be undeniable. You have to work harder, be more creative, be better, be more self-aware. Can't have too much of this when I'm working. I don't get the same grace that potentially men do. So I do take myself very seriously, sometimes too seriously, but it's deeply ingrained in me in order to do that.
That's amazing. I love what you said about having to become undeniable.
Yeah, I love that. Should be a code of its own.
Yeah, it will be a code of its own. I always like to think about how I want to be unputdownable. Yeah. Much like a glass of wine, but I like your undeniable better.
Just tell our lovely viewers and listeners how you picked up this woman.
Oh yes, oh my God, I have to share the story. I normally don't do that. I do not pick up people at bars, but Sarissa, like she said, she was actually undeniable, ladies and gentlemen. So when you see a woman she was with a bunch of gentlemen, and I went up to her and I said, you are the only woman amongst a bunch of investment bankers. Are you one yourself? Because I kind of just assume that she's hanging out and getting bored and maybe she wants to hang out with us, not investment bankers. She said, no, I'm just looking after them. I said, what do you mean? And this is in Whisper Room, the latest rage in town. And she's like, I own this place. And in the most unassuming way, I was like, I had a couple of your very lovely Aperol spritzes by then. So I said, okay, meet my best friend, bye. Because, it was really nice the way you... it was super unassuming of you. There is... I just want to say that from that day to you being part of our launch event to you being part of our podcast, it says so much.
Thank you. I mean, you actually believed me. There have been times where people actually don't believe me.
Such as?
There are times when
Such as ASS.
Such as.
Moving on.
Such as. She says such as. Now I know she's dying to ask her question.
Yes. So from Italian bakery teen to nightlife titan, you have mentioned starting work at age 14. What was one unexpected lesson from that early job that still shapes your biggest business instincts today? Like 14 years old, I can't remember what I was doing at 14.
I definitely remember what I was doing at 14. I was so tired.
Oh my God, you started working at 14?
I started working at 14. In New York, you get your working papers when you're 14. And I got them on my 14th birthday, and I went straight to work. I went straight into the Italian bakery and applied for a job. Over the summers, I had more than one job. I was a lifeguard and a
lifeguard?
Yes.
I can already see that slow-mo happening.
I was thinking Baywatch. Red swimsuit.
I wish it was that glamorous.
No? Okay.
We ate French fries at the country club, but
okay.
Yeah, but we could keep the image.
Oh, something like that. Okay, sorry.
Okay, yeah.
I used to watch Baywatch. But yes, I was just constantly working. There was never a time where I wasn't working. And I would just go to be a lifeguard from 7 to 3 and then to the bakery from 3 to 10.
But was there a need to, or it's just like you just wanted to work?
I didn't necessarily want to. I did need the pocket money for sure. If I wanted to go to the movies, then and I wanted to be self-sufficient. I always wanted to be self-sufficient and not have to ask anybody for anything. And that afforded me the ability to do that. So the biggest lesson that I had from being at a super young age was you just work. There is no world in where you don't work.
Wow.
Tell us a bit about your background, your family, how many siblings?
Well, I grew up an only child.
Oh, high
You too?
Me too.
Okay, guys. I have nothing to contribute to this. I have a younger sister.
I grew up an only child. I grew up in White Plains, New York, which is about 20 minutes outside of Manhattan. And I grew up in a very Italian-American suburb. So I'm very culturally Italian-American. And my mother grew up in Long Island in a very Jewish neighborhood. So she has some Jewish inflection. So I'm also a little bit culturally Jewish in that way. And my father's Puerto Rican. He moved to Spanish Harlem when he was 4 years old. And the majority, my ancestors or my great-great-grandparents, they emigrated through Ellis Island.
Wow.
So they came from Italy and they got their names changed and they got their stamps and then moved to Little Italy, worked delivering ice, and then the refrigerator came around and then they couldn't deliver ice anymore. And I have a very just old school New York. I didn't realize how not interesting, but I didn't realize how different that was until I moved here.
Yeah.
The fact that our family's names were changed and that people emigrated through Ellis Island. And to me, that was just very normal growing up. So
But such a melting pot of cultures, right? Like there is Italian, then there is Puerto Rican,
Yes.
and then there is the Jewish influence, which is
Yes.
such a big influence as well.
Yes.
Like, how do you bring that to your work? Because I feel like we've been to almost all your places, right? Like, I feel like you transport us as your guests to another time and place. But did almost like, if I may call you that, the mixed culture kid, right? Did that teach you something about running these places the way you do today? Because for anyone that has been to Whisper Room, they know it's not a place, it's an experience. The drinks, the music, the ambience, the people, the hospitality. If you go there once, you will probably want to go there twice in a row like we are doing tonight and tomorrow. But what about that very melting pot of culture? And New York is the melting pot of the world. What about that influenced you in everything that you've done ever since?
Well, the Whisper Room is modeled after an old school New York hotel lobby. It's just very grand. I believe a lot of what inspires me with our venues is it's almost theater. So a lot of it has to do with drama. I love film. I love movies. I'm a Pisces.
Ooh.
I love the drama of it. So
Like my mother.
yeah.
She loves the drama.
Exactly. But I love these things. And I think that it's the experiences. We're creating a movie set. One of my venues, I actually hired a movie set designer to build it. And design it. So a lot of inspiration comes from transporting people into a different time and place, and creating that sense of nostalgia. And a lot of that has to do with the theater and the drama and the lighting and the sound. And when you watch a play on Broadway or a show, they're changing your mood with the sound and with the lighting, and you don't necessarily realize it at the time.
Yeah.
And in all of our venues, we do that. And many times, most of the time, people don't understand why they like our places. They just
because
do.
it's a psychological thing,
Yes.
right? Yeah, it's sublime.
I instantly got it. Like I tell all of my friends about Whisper Room the same way as how you have described it. It's like a theatrical experience. You have to experience it to experience it.
Yeah. I mean, I actually didn't think of it the way I felt it was a theater, but I didn't have the words. I especially loved the aspect of live performances and jazz. I was blown away by it. I wanna let out a trade secret from my time at Netflix. I was about to leave Netflix, so I don't know much about it. So please excuse my inaccuracy. When you enter the world of Netflix, there are certain colors, there are certain cues, aesthetic cues that are there. They're actually deeply scientifically researched.
Wow.
As to what will unconsciously appeal to Sarissa or to Lav or to Dee.
Wow.
There are scientists and psychologists thinking about the kind of music. The tudum has a very psychological effect. Like as I say it, I get goosebumps because we did remixes of the tudum. So Sarissa, either knowingly, you're very smart, or unknowingly, you have actually created a grammar or a language for each of your places. Like Lulu's used to feel like the pre-drinks or the getting ready before the bang bang, right? Like,
but it was a theatre experience.
It was a theatre experience as well.
It was,
and I see that you try to bring that extra, which, to be very honest, not too many people here try to do.
Carry it off, yeah.
So the kudos to you, because you literally and another place where this happens is retail. Like you go to your favorite stores, you actually don't know why you keep going to your favorite stores. It's the music, it's the lighting, it's the scent, it's the smiles of the people. We are, as human beings, we're psychologically attuned to pick up on these subliminal cues.
Right. And a lot of what many people don't realize is what we do is actually heavily curated. So even though we have live performances, we're curating what they do. And a lot of times where they might go to a different venue and they're inserting their performance into that venue, we build our venue around that. We make sure that they fit into what we've already done. So it feels a little bit more organic. At Lulu's, we really tried to push the envelope there in terms of, I mean, when we first opened, our first grand opening of Lulu's, the grand opening when we were the first place in Singapore to do burlesque and boylesque.
I remember that. Yeah. I remember that.
It was so interesting to see how people navigated and their minds switched from the very first performance that they saw to even just a week later, to, oh my God, what am I watching? And we had to tone it down and curate it a little bit more to sort of suit the experience that we wanted it to be. We didn't want to go so far to, the box in New York where it was, raunchy. Like we wanted you to feel comfortable being there with your partner and being there with your girlfriends and not be like, oh my God, what did I just see? But we wanted it to push the envelope a little bit and have it be really interesting. And from the first moment, from the first performance of people just being totally shocked at what they were seeing to the next week, those same people bringing their friends and saying, you have to see this show. You have to see what you're never going to believe what happens. So I think that a big part of our experiences are definitely curated to what we want people to feel in that moment.
Wow.
Lulu's was magical.
Yeah. And how many people are in this decision process?
Me and my partner, me and my husband, 2.
You keep the team tight. Yeah.
Well, in terms of the experiences and things like that. Of course, absolutely. Every single decision has to eventually, the buck stops with us. So yeah,
love it
for sure.
We all remember Lulu's used to be really magical. There was something in the air that you couldn't quite describe.
Yeah.
And then you went into Bang Bang, which was like on your senses.
Yes, I was just going to say full sensory.
Yeah, it was full sensory.
Yeah.
It was like you suddenly became 5 years younger at Bang Bang.
Yes.
Right.
Definitely.
Or we pretended to be.
Now Whisper Room is doing that to us.
Oh my God.
No, Dashi Gogo actually.
That is, we will talk
10
about
years
that.
Younger.
10 years younger. Wear sneakers. She said, wear sneakers tomorrow. Do not wear your heels. I'm like, why? I'm like, guess where we are going? I'm like, oh, got it. Okay. Your question, madam?
My question, okay. So what was one unexpected lesson from that early job when you were 14 years old, that job, that still shapes your biggest business instincts today?
That's a tough question. My biggest business instincts. Well, look, at 14, I was trying to survive, okay? I was showing up for my shifts. I had some crazy bosses in my early days. But I think my biggest instinct is, I worked actually at a French restaurant once, and I'll never forget that these people, they were a husband and wife duo, and she worked front of house and he worked back of house. And it was a very high-end French restaurant. And only 2 tables a night. And they were so slow, and they were just drowning.
2 tables a night?
Yeah, they were not doing well. So eventually I moved on, but what I realized was, I was 16, 17 years old. That always stuck with me because I really understood that even though your product can be great or better than, and they were excellent restaurateurs. I mean, even looking back now, it doesn't always matter, and it doesn't guarantee that you're going to survive and that you're going to thrive. And of course they had to shut down the business, and that always stuck with me. And I, as a adult and business owner now, at the time, I was so not invested in what they were going through. You're 16, 17 years old. I didn't realize the stakes and what they probably had at stake. And I didn't understand what they must have been going through on a daily basis. And I frequently think about them and how they got through it. And I always wonder and end up wondering what ended up happening to them. But it's something that has definitely always stuck with me in terms of it's not just about your actual product. Just because you're putting out the best, dish, or you have the most unique cheeses doesn't mean that people are going to buy it. So you really need to do everything else to make sure. I always have that mentality whenever I open a venue, is that I go into it thinking nobody's ever going to come.
Oh, really?
And yeah, my husband thinks I'm insane because people do, but I go into it thinking that, and that makes me tackle everything from all angles. You cannot take it for granted, and you're only as good as your last night. So I think that I tackle everything as if nobody's going to show up. It's not a guarantee. Just because, yes, I have done very popular venues here that I believe have changed the cultural and entertainment landscape of Singapore, doesn't mean that that's my next, I'm not going to have a failure. And I don't take that for granted. I don't take this market for granted, and I don't take people for granted. So I always use the term, you can't believe your own bullshit in a way. And I think that sometimes people, when they have a success, I believe that can really hinder them in their next venture, because sometimes it's timing, sometimes it's luck, sometimes it's the product, sometimes it's the timing of that product in the market at that time. And it could be all of those things or none of those things, but you just don't know. You cannot force people to come. I mean, I've said to you before, we're not a grocery store, we're not a hospital. You don't have to come here. We're the last place that you need to be, so it better be worth it.
You want to come, you don't have to come.
Of course, it better be worth it. It better be very worth it. And that's what I obsess over all of the time.
I love that. I feel like it's almost like, because you're in this business, it all seems so glamorous from the outside, right? Even when I first met you, I was like, this must be so fun to run. But the more I talk to you, the more I realize how much science there is behind this art, how much hardcore number crunching there must be on a regular basis. So that's why I want to ask you that outside of all of the lights and the champagne and the Aperol spritz that we see and the glamour that we see, which is honestly a part of your job, right? It's like, when I used to be on TV, 4 a.m. doesn't matter. I still have to put full makeup on, even if I didn't like it, but I had to do it, right? What's your favorite hardcore hustle moment? Like you're like, man, I live for it. Like this is what makes it all worth it.
My hardcore hustle moment, back when in 2014, I opened up Bang Bang nightclub, and that was so intense for me because I had just left Pangea to open Bang Bang. And if I'd failed, it was our first project outside of, and we would have been goners, right? We would have been totally done, irrelevant. And when Bang Bang was a success, from the time Bang Bang opened, for the next 2 or 3 years, I would say 3 years, about 13 nightclubs opened and closed with the intention of being the next
Bang Bang.
Bang Bang, right. Open and close, some within 3 months or so. Yes. And I remember I said to my really close friend at the time, and she's since moved to Australia. I kept on saying to her, I don't understand why I do this. I love what I do, but I wouldn't do it just willy-nilly, I feel like I like partying, I'm going to open a nightclub. It's very serious. And it was, many nights, fetal position, what are we going to do? And it's not just an overnight success the way that it looks.
Yeah.
And, Bang Bang was over 2 years in the making. I had planned that for a very long time. I had to be very strategic about it and how I launched it. And the concept and everything had to really come together. But I said to my best friend, my girlfriend, I said, why are they? I don't get it. And people would come in and poach and take our staff, offer them double. And it was constant. And at some point I was just so beaten down. And she said, you know why people do it? And she's the CEO of a company as well. She's an elder care and she's the CEO of her own company. She said, you know why people are doing it? And I said, why? She goes, because you make it look easy.
Yep. I went through the exact same thing.
Yep.
I know how you feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. People trying to
and
ape
look
you.
who's standing right now.
Yeah.
It's us.
It's you guys.
Yeah. Exactly.
But this is insane. I can't even imagine what might have taken you to build a place like Bang Bang, right? I
remember those cages?
The cages, the gilded cages.
That the bouncers never allow us into.
Why would they?
Was
we
it
did
because-
work there, girl. What are you talking about?
I
This is my best
dance
friend
so
there,
well.
everyone. Yeah, well, you dance well, but that doesn't mean you qualify for the cage.
Just saying. All right.
Yeah, next
Let's
question.
bring our man into the picture.
Yes, I knew you would
Josh.
do that. Yes.
When I was looking through the photos, and I was like, wow, this man really looks at his wife with so much admiration. Only smiling. There's no frowning or whatever. I was trying to scrutinize the photo. No, only smiling and looking
Send
at
me
you.
those photos. I want proof.
I will.
We have them.
You and Josh flip roles between lovers and co-CEOs. What's a code word or ritual you use to switch off business and just be us?
It is, it takes a lot of boundary setting, but mostly it's, we use the word headspace a lot in our house. So I don't have the headspace for this right now is mostly,
I love
mostly it. But look, everyone has their different moments, right? 9:30 at night, I will look at a P&L and then I will want to talk about it. And he doesn't want to talk about it. Are you the opposite?
I would do it. I do it all the time.
Wait, you would expect your partner to wake up to talk about
No,
it?
not
9:30.
wake
Who
up.
sleeps at 9:30?
Yeah. Not
You,
wake
not
up.
me.
9:30.
That's when I'm at my best, right?
I know.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, but
Night
you
owls.
can be not the other
Cheers.
person. No, I'm not cheersing to this.
No, but I get what you're saying.
Right.
It's that inability that some of us have to switch off. So which is why I message her at 12 o'clock saying this is what we need to do.
And
Because
I
I'm
look at it the
literally
next morning.
Going at
Everyone
it.
has a different time.
Yeah.
And you just have to respect it. Imagine being in the same house with somebody, being on a sofa watching a movie and something comes through and he really wants to talk about it, but I'm interested in relaxing and coming.
Yeah.
You have to, look, we went through a period where we just kind of expected each other to both be on all the time. And it was just, it's a recipe for disaster. But now we don't have that. So
How did you navigate through that?
saying, I'm going to tell you when I don't have the headspace for this. And we both do that. So we didn't necessarily know that because we were just moving at such a fast pace for so long. We opened Bang Bang and then we opened Employees Only and then we opened Lulu's and then we opened Employees Only in Hong Kong and then we opened Pasta Bar. And this happened over the course of 5 years only.
Wow.
Or then we opened Poppy's Tacos. That was only 5 years. And we were moving at such a fast pace that we didn't stop to realize or think how to, like this, I hate the word balance because it's not, but
there is nothing.
But how to kind of respect each other's boundaries in a way or personal space. And I need to recoup. Even in the car, I don't like speaking in the car. I realize this. So when we drive, I grew up an only child. I was in the back seat looking at the trees, okay? That was my time to just think, relax, daydream.
Yeah.
And for him, for my husband, he grew up in Manhattan. He was taking the subway all the time. He doesn't know that. So when we get in the car and we have a 20-minute drive, or he uses that as meeting time.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm getting goosebumps right now because that just happened to me today. My husband said, okay, let's go buy cheese. I'm like, okay, let's go buy cheese. I thought it was just a grocery run. Turned out to be a full-on meeting about a topic. And I was like, I thought this was just a grocery run.
Can I just get my cheese?
Yeah.
Can I just get my cheese? But it is a very tough thing to do when you are business partners as well as life partners like you and Josh are, right?
It is.
Yeah, how do you do it?
Is. Like, we don't know any different. It's part of our dynamic. Look, we're so intertwined where I know what he's thinking. He knows what I'm thinking. I don't have to express my ideas. He doesn't really have to fully express his ideas. I just get it. He says one sentence. I get it. I'm like, okay, I'm on board. Done. All right. Let's make it happen. I totally, he doesn't have to pitch me. And it's really nice to have somebody that just understands what your inflections and how you see things and what you want the experience to be. And we just are really on that plane together where we don't have to work to convince.
Oh my God. Yes.
Right.
I hear you and I completely agree. Like, for the first time in my life, I feel seen, heard, and acknowledged. And I told him the other day, he was there at the launch.
Yes.
And I said, a lot of it is because of you. He said, I did nothing. I said, so you think. You gave me the space to do not one, not two, but 3 projects on the side when anyone else could have just said, well, you're taking time away from us. You never grudged me that time. When I know exactly how you feel about spending time together. And that to me means the world. I don't need physical support. Like, I don't need someone to do my thinking for me. But just to make space and to understand and to just be a part of that story. That's really
Definitely.
quite something. Yeah.
It's very special.
It's very special.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you a fun question because Whisper Room or Dashigogo, you can pick one. They are amazing venues. So here's a plug. Please go check them out. And if either of them had a signature cocktail that reflected you, whether as a person, as a partner, or as a leader, what would you name it and what would be in it?
Spicy something.
Oh,
spicy
yes.
margarita.
Yes. You're talking our language now.
Yeah. But today we will go and say, sir, can we have the spicy something? I like that. Spicy something.
Spicy something.
Spicy Sarissa.
The spicy Sarissa.
Oh, what will be in it?
I like
Let's
that.
think about it.
A smoky tequila, a mezcal, smoky mezcal. Look, I'm a simple person. I'm not a cocktail girl.
Okay.
Give me the basics. I'm happiest with an aged whiskey, neat.
You're basically an old man.
I know.
I was about to say that. I was
really
like, is
am.
it proper to say it?
You can't
It's
say
proper
it.
to say it. We say anything here.
I totally get it. And or just a smoky mezcal, neat. I'm simple, clean. I go back to basics, and I want what I want. Just give it to me.
Here's an idea. What if you popped in frozen jalapeno in it, and then it became the spicy Sarissa?
That would be great.
You heard it here first. Today we are doing new
You are
category
claiming every possible credit for
situation.
New beverage director.
Yeah.
New beverage director.
Is motherhood that simple though with you? Have you simplified motherhood?
She knowingly asks this question, knowing that the answer to this will be, no, it's not simple.
No, of course it's not. It's not simple. I think motherhood brings up a lot of your own mishigas, as the Jewish phrase is. But I love it. I love motherhood. I especially love this age. But yeah,
How old is she now?
She's 3.5. She's almost 4, actually.
Friends, Talia and her.
Best age. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
No, it's not simple. I mean, we're just constantly trying to not mess them up, right?
Why do you think I don't
How
have
many
kids?
child-
Because I don't trust myself.
How many child psychologists am I following right now on Instagram?
No,
I can tell you,
seriously?
yes. I could tell you Dr. Becky. I could tell you everything of, gentle parenting.
Dr. Shafali.
I just follow psychologists. I'm like, save.
Yeah.
Save.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I am I'm so proud of who she is thus far. My biggest foundation for her is I just want her to be super confident in who she is and feel that she has that unconditional love, and that she could just be a kid for as long as possible, and then life will kick her in the ass later
grow
on.
up. Why must you grow
She'll
up?
get it later on.
Yeah.
But even when it comes to school and things like that, I'm very conscious of who she's around in terms of teachers and how they're pushing her academically. Right now, it's just about fun, carefree confidence, building her up, understanding that they're just a three-year-old ball of emotion right now.
Yeah,
and
so
nothing's personal, and just just funneling those loving phrases into her ear every night of how amazing she is. And
Wow.
that's what I want her to. I want those nerves to start to connect.
The neurons to
I want
fire
those-
up. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that she has that foundation, and then hopefully this is the foundation. And then when she's, I'm very proud. She always tells me how she feels, and I love that. And I tell her, thank you for telling me how you feel. And I just feel like if she could tell me that now, hopefully when she's 15, 16 years old, she'll still feel comfortable telling me how she feels. And, it's okay to be sad, and it's okay to be happy. And I have a little song that I sing to her that I love you when you're happy. I love you when you're angry. I love you, blah, blah, blah.
Sing it.
No.
Wow, so sweet.
I mean, I can openly say this. I've never really wanted kids. Like, I think I was 27 when I decided that was not for me. But then there's a period in my 30s where I went through a phase where I thought that maybe I would like to have kids, but I only ever wanted a daughter.
Yeah.
Because what you say is just such a, like, her daughter, Talia, is like my goddaughter, right? And obviously her son is my godson. But like when I'm with them, and especially with her, when she looks at me and she does all that thing, I'm just like, my heart is like, whatever you want is yours. Just ask. Like, literally, they're so special.
I know. I
And
never
like-
wanted kids either.
Really?
Never. Both my
No
husband
way.
and I never wanted kids. And then I just changed my mind April 2020.
No,
I just
are you
changed
serious?
I wanted to want kids, if that
Yeah, me
makes
too.
sense.
I tried.
I wanted
Never
to want.
happened for me.
Like, I wanted to have the desire, but I didn't. And I was very comfortable in my life, and I was super
Yeah.
career focused. And then something just shifted in me. I think it was, a series of events, but I was so happy that it shifted, and I decided to do it. And I'm very glad that I made that decision for us. He was like, I'm fine. You're enough for me. You're great. And I was like, that's very sweet. But I knew that he would do whatever I wanted.
Oh, I think we should have Josh as the next kid.
We should. Yeah.
If he agrees.
Men's special.
Yeah.
So how's becoming a mom redefine how you protect your energy, creativity?
She's
or,
drunk.
Yeah, a bit.
It's okay.
Calendar. That calendar.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that calendar.
Oh, well, I think the first thing is motherhood changed. Reflecting on that question, actually, is I care so much less about stuff. If I were to, there's nothing physical that I would save in a fire. Like, there's really nothing that I have physically, materially, that I would, care to lose, to be honest. So it definitely...
Not even your passport? I think about it
It's
all the time.
annoying. but-
Yeah, I think about it all the time.
Do you?
What would I pick? My passport and just my card holder. That's it.
That's it. I would
Okay,
choose...
Guru, please hear that.
I mean, of course, Guru, but he's a human being. He can take care of himself,
something
right?
physical, something
Yeah,
material.
physical. Yeah.
But there's one thing. There's a story that I have. Two brothers from Bari, which is Bari, Italy, is where my ancestors came in, and it's a story about my great grandfather and his brother coming to Italy, and it's a story that I love and I treasure, and it was done on a typewriter, and if I had to choose one thing, it would be that. That would really hurt me to lose for sure. But I think in terms of my energy and creativity, I have such a different view of all women. I think I have such a holistic view of all women now that I feel like I didn't have when I had my daughter. I went up to each person, each mother, and personally apologized for constantly inviting them to events on Saturday. Because Sunday is such a difficult, tiring day. So I'm so sorry that I did that.
Someone has hurt me.
Which is why I never invite you on anything on Sunday, but
On Saturday.
Saturday
she
night.
wants to go out on
Saturday
Saturday,
night.
not me.
And then
She.
she'll give me grief if I can't make it on a Saturday night. Yes,
Right.
please move on.
Right. I
is
personally
beautiful.
apologize. But I have a completely different understanding, respect, holistic views. So I really love, my calendar, of course, I have to prioritize my daughter, her time, but I do want her to have that village and that community. So I really cherish my friendships. I really do. I think we live in Singapore. We don't have family here.
Yeah.
I didn't go to primary school here. So the friendships that I have, I really cherish and invest in and nurture.
I feel like you know what my next question was going to be.
Yeah.
What?
I also know.
Like literally, I was going to ask you about your friends.
Yeah.
Okay. I have two questions, and you may choose to answer them together. What's something you talked about friendship and how they are so critical to our lifetimes and our living, right? What's something your bestie understands about you that even Josh might not? That's number one. And if your bestie were on this podcast right now, what story would you hope they don't tell us?
But would she even tell here?
That's what I'm saying. Oh, yeah. But that was a
don't-
smart way of asking. The unspeakable.
Look, I've been pretty tame in Singapore, but I think
In Singapore.
yes, in Singapore. Of course,
yeah.
I had my teenage years. I was going to Limelight and when an exit New York City when I was 15 years old, 16 years old.
You started early, girl.
I did.
We peaked at like 30. Those were our Lulu days.
Oh, so what was the question? What would she?
So basically, what's something that your bestie understands about you that even Josh doesn't? And if he or she were to be on this podcast,
She understands two things. One, when I'm not interested in continuing a conversation with somebody.
Ooh.
And when my social battery runs out. She calls it. She's like, "You want to go home?" I'm like, "How do you know? I'm not doing anything different." Or just that she just can see it. She's like, "I can see it in your face." So she just knows my aura. She knows she's very intuitive with me. She's super cute and yeah, I love that about her. I'm like, I'm fine. She's like, go home, go. I'll cover for you.
That's very nice.
Story-wise, I don't have anything super juicy. I would give it to you. Look, Josh even told me, he's like, give them some dirt.
Yeah, Josh, you're coming in here next. Okay.
I know. I'm
Give us
trying.
something.
I have more work dirt than bestie dirt.
They're not Sarissa that I expected.
I
but-
know.
Give us something.
I know.
Okay, give us something from the time that you were in New York, or maybe not in Singapore. Maybe Singapore domesticated you, but
Of course it did.
yeah, but something. I mean, she has so many stories she could die.
I know.
She
Tell me,
literally could be-
say one.
Oh,
Give me
what?
an example.
The tables have turned. Okay, say it. Not that I.
What?
Inspire me.
Hey, hello. This podcast is not about me. It's about you.
I can tell. What do you want to know?
Yeah. Inspire.
There was one night in Sydney. Full stop. Look at her hiding her face.
Oh my goodness. Embarrassing.
Yeah.
Continue.
You continue.
I don't really have
What happens
anything.
in Sydney stays in Sydney.
Or
Exactly.
in Bali. Or in
Exactly.
LA. Or in Dubai.
Okay, I will say, so at Bang Bang, you remember all of the plushie dolls, the mascots, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
They used to come around. Yeah.
that was inspired from my bachelorette party in New Jersey. So I spent a great deal amount of time with a Smurf at a casino in Atlantic City for my bachelorette party. And then when we were opening Bang Bang, I was like, we gotta have a Smurf. Like, there's no question.
We know what to get you for your birthday. It's pretty cheap.
I spent a lot of time. I spent a lot of time with the Smurf in the casino.
I cannot tell you what I got her for her bachelorette. Maybe offline. I can tell you.
Offline.
Okay, let's
wrap this up.
Yes.
I know. I mean,
Before
this
we
is
get too saucy.
too saucy.
And the limelight is on me apparently
Correct.
now.
But I will tell you what I did for a bachelorette, but not on air. Ladies and fine gentlemen who have joined us to listen to this podcast, to watch it on YouTube or Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, thank you so much for staying with us. And thank you to the beautiful and exceedingly brilliant Sarissa, who joined us today on this special episode of me and my BFF, Whining and Telling. We call it BFFs Wine and Tell. So all you have to do is follow us on Instagram, follow us on Spotify, follow us on YouTube, and like,
Subscribe, share, and every subscription is so vital to our growth.
correct. But you also can tell us, who would you like to see on our podcast next? Trust me, we got connections. And what would you like to hear us talk about? Because we want to build a community of women who have the space to talk about anything and everything under the sun, as long as we have vino. Okay. All right. Until next time, we will see you very soon. And a big, big round of applause to this beautiful human being over here, Sarissa. Thank you so much for your time.
Bravo.
Yay.
Thank you.